All right, ladies and gentlemen, Pedro and I will be with you in just one moment here. Oh. Yes. Yes, it is. Good morning, everybody. Hold on just a moment. For those of you tuning in on LinkedIn or YouTube, drop a comment, please. Running just a little bit behind today, as you can tell. I switched over to being in Chicago. Didn't have my act completely together, but we will get going here in just a moment. Alrighty, just checking on the stream. Make sure they're all good. More than once I've gone live, but have not gone live. Oh, I'm playing. YouTube is. I'm trying to see if the stream's running okay on my phone here, and YouTube has changed their ads to like these 2-minute ads that you can't skip. And for the YouTube algorithm listening, that's not cool. 2 minutes. Ugh. It's all right, there we go. All right, check. Oh, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now we'll do the, as I say, the last check to get going here. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom. I got Pedro on the line here. Put his mic's out on because I'm getting ready to start the show. I hope this is the right intro. So everybody, let's get this show started. No, it's not the right one. That one's for tomorrow. All right, everybody, welcome to the show. The wrong intro on there. Had Anton. He's going to pop in tomorrow and talk about it. Anyway, welcome to DYOR Live. Today is November 2nd, November of 2023. It is no longer October. Halloween is over, and it's still just as scary as ever in this crypto land. But anyway, good morning. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking. So glad to be hosting this show once again this morning with my good friend Pedro Garcia. Pedro, what is happening this morning?
Hey, brother, how you doing? Things are well, man. Things are real well. I'm up in the Northeast right now, and we hitting this little cold spurt. I was like, oh my goodness, it's like below 30 before, or into November, and I was like, holy, what's it's supposed to still? I'm supposed to see pretty foliage and nice little, drives that stay between 30 and 40.
Nope.
We're in our 27th. It's like, I'm like, what is that?
That's not how it's working now. This is Striking, and I just drove back from Canada into Chicago. So I'm back in the Chicago studio. As you can tell, a couple of things not working here. So it's not exactly working right, but getting set up here. But in Canada, we hadn't had real winter yet. Where we were in Ottawa and then in Toronto. It was always about 40 degrees, 5 or 6 Celsius. It was the lowest it got getting. It didn't snow, hasn't snowed yet. There was a lot of days that were very warm, and you still didn't need a jacket. Got in the car literally as soon as we crossed the bridge into Michigan. It started snowing, and the temperature, you just watched it on the car dashboard, just go pew, and then it's been snow, and then this morning woke up here, and it's sunny, and the snow has melted. But it's winter. That's it.
Yay!
I was talking to one of my friends he's Australian, but lives in the Netherlands, and I was talking about the weather switching to snow, and I was like, wait a minute, his name is Jamie. I said, Jamie, have you ever lived anywhere where there's a real winter? And he's like, oh, no, I've lived in Australia and then in Europe, and none of those places have a real winter. And they said when it gets like, to 20 degrees or just below freezing, everyone freaks out here. It's like, oh my God,
it's the end of the world.
Right.
It's in the world every year.
And I was like, we just did minus 30 in Ottawa for 3 months, or not 3 months, for 90 days straight recently. And he's like,
3 months.
Not 3 months, 90 days. It was January and half of February. It was minus 30. And it was just like,
oh my goodness.
I don't know. Anyway, we got a good show for you today. We haven't been on the air in a while. Talking to Pedro yesterday, and he brought up a couple of things, and Pedro obviously always has a lot to talk about. But one of the things that we really want to talk about is what's going on with BTC. We all know that BTC is pumping right now. Mr. Beast. We're just going to call it Mr. Beast. So
we're going to call him Mr. Beast from now. You can't stop it.
Mr. Beast TC. And I don't have you on the screen right now, but if you know what's going on with BTC's chart, it's just pumping. And everyone's saying that the bull market is over, or the bull market's over, blah, blah, blah. And but
the bear market.
I'm sorry, right. Bear market. God, everyone's going to comment sections be beating me up here. Bear market is over, and that we're on the road to 100,000. And there's still some signs that could happen, but there's also some signs that it could go back down. And Pedro was talking about people taking large put options, which I might add right now are big money losers.
Yeah.
Betting against the downside. Also, we got to talk about those knuckleheads at Safemoon today. And so we'll get to that in the second half of the show. But man, what a flame out that was. I mean, we all kind of called it a long time ago, saying that Safemoon was a scam. People thought it was. They tried. They tried not to scam us, and they tried to do it right. But there was too much going on. Breaking news: Safemoon executives charged by SEC for massive fraudulent scheme in unregulated crypto offering and securities. And I'll have some insights into that as to what we talk about later when we come back to it. But right now, let me see if I can actually manage to get Pedro's screen up here. See if that works. Did that work? No, that didn't work.
This is always fun. Find Pedro's screen. Where is Pedro's screen today? Where in the world
yeah,
is
where in the
Pedro's
world is
screen?
Should be up now. But it's not.
Sometimes it happens. I miss shows like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
Right.
That was like, every time Carmen comes on with us, I always sing that song in my head. I'm like, don't say that. That would be rude. Don't say that.
All right, let's see if I can get this
but
up.
yeah, I think what's interesting so much about the Safemoon situation, and we'll talk about this in a second, but that like they straight up just said, you committed security fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and money laundering, and unquote, right? Like they just said,
right, everything.
200 million. Yeah, like they're not even playing. They're just like, as alleged, the defendants deliberately misled investors and diverted millions of dollars to fuel their greedy schemes and enrich themselves by purchasing a custom Porsche sports car. Right? Like it was just, that kind of cracked me up.
That cracked me up too. Here, let me. Hold on. We have a comment. We got Let's see if the comment section works as I try to get Pedro's screen up here. Where is my section here? Let's see. Let's push the comment section. There we go, Mike. Crypto Mike says, "Are we getting my favorite segment today?" No, there's no Rugged, Ruined, and Wrecked today, Mike. I'll have that. I'll have that another day. We're just trying to get things going here.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. And this computer is just operating a bit slow here this morning.
We're just having fun here. Yeah.
Just a bit.
Let's go. No, but check this out. So we're sitting there, and I'm looking at the market with a friend of mine, and so we're going over some things, and he goes, "Yo, what are the puts are on Bitcoin?" And I go, "Dude, they're first of all losing a ton of cash, but the thing is, they have them out for like 2 years, so it's like either they're betting that the market in a few years after the next bull run is going to just crash. I mean, we're talking." They have these puts out for like 8,000. I've seen them on earlier points where they were down at 3,000. So yeah, that's why I was saying the liquidity there is for 3,000. Like that's where I really saw a lot, but it was taken out for whatever reason. I can't go back to that area where it's like, but there are a lot of calls over here, like around this period in time. But I started sitting there and I was just like kind of shocked. I was just like, wow. Like that's really good. There's some people really in the money here, but I was just really impressed with how many people had put calls at these levels. And I think for me looking at that, I can truly say either it's a safety, like they're sitting there going, okay, from a safety standpoint, this is where they feel like things could go, right? Right now, the highest volume out for the furthest leap out there is sitting around 55,000, right? Which basically you have about 65,000. Actually, this morning it changed. Where are you at? There you are.
My system is not working right. Headline here says MicroStrategy buys more Bitcoin.
Yeah, yes, they did. They're not playing. I don't. One thing I don't understand is he's buying, like he's like you said, he is saving up to buy Bitcoin. Like he's all in on Bitcoin, and he's got billions of dollars in this. I wonder what MicroStrategy's full net position in Bitcoin is.
This article here I have up behind me is saying that their average price is 29,500 and they've got 158,400 Bitcoin. So they're in the money now finally. They were negative for a little bit. But I'm guessing their buy here today is what caused everyone to FOMO in.
Well, Bitcoin's down as of right now, so it's real interesting that.
Well, I'd be able to tell if I could bring your chart up here, but I'm gonna restart my not my computer, but just this one program. So, but your voice will stay up and running. So give.
Yeah, I'll give a little, and then we'll go over this stuff here real quick. So, like right now, again, like I was a little bit back when we were talking. When the market was sitting in these levels, we had a drop. We had a sell-off back in August, right? And then we went sideways. And I did expect us to come back up to the 28,000 mark. And then from there, do a sell-off to, like I said, that 24 and 20,000 mark. But because of volume and what was going on, that's where my bias was when you looked at it. But since, and I did explain around that time, I do expect some bad news to come out, really bad news, so we could see a sell-off. When that happened, that was the news that came out. And again, I don't say that the news was, I did not predict the war or whatever. That's just nuts, because I don't want to believe that people would cause wars to, and I'm being honest, of innocent people That just, I don't want to believe that, whether it's true or not. I just don't. I won't even laugh about it. So we saw the sell-off come in from Bitcoin, but then we saw an explosion from about 26,000 now to about 35,000. That's 10,000 points. We're talking, that's almost half or 40% of the market movement within Bitcoin. Now, us Bitcoiners or us crypto people understand that 40% ain't jack. We'll see, 1,000x in a project within 2 days. So, but with that said, I'm still not seeing a lot of volume come in. And so when I'm looking at the charts, I don't know how to gauge the real movement of this market because I'm not seeing a ton of real volume step in. So I'm still hesitant to sit there and say, yeah, we're in this bull market. It's moving up. Michael Saylor could be the one that's saying, you know what, we're going to push us up, boom, 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 and keep it there. And if that man is willing to keep spending almost billions of dollars, yeah, he might be the one that's literally the liquidity pool altogether there. And if so, okay, that changes a lot of things. If he's willing to hold on and die by that and lose his wealth, he might be the one that keeps it from just completely, from completely going down. And if that's true, then I have to change my bias, because even if you have one singular buyer that keeps it at a level, that's enough in crypto to keep everything from going up. So I might have to change my idea, even though the institutions with the put levels are at certain levels, right? That they they're definitely out of the money. I mean, you see 70,000, 80,000 contracts, at put levels. So these areas here are at different levels, but it's still, I sit there and I go, okay, this is, some of these guys are definitely in the money. And these are institutions. This is March. This is a leap market, or excuse me, this is options leaps. These are like 2 years out, March of 2025, right? And it basically allows you to be able to see where people's positions are at and where they think they'll go over the long haul. I think over the long haul, we're definitely going to sit there and see some real big money coming in, right? Like we have puts at 160,000 out in this level, and we have calls sitting at 24 or 2004 down at these levels. So, or up at these levels here. There's not a lot of people who are betting that it's going to get up to these levels. So definitely out of the money there. So it's just, am I still talking?
Oh yeah, you're going, Pedro. I'm listening to you.
All right.
I got my system back up and running here. It was just going at it. But one of the things that this article was telling about Saylor, I got to imagine he's playing in the options market too.
He has to.
Yeah, he has to protect that. But it said that his average on this recent buy, his average price was 27,000. Now it hasn't been 27,000 now in what, 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So this 167 million, he's been slowly, he's wisely slowly buying it. I was thinking maybe he bought all at once and it caused everyone to FOMO, but no, he was just slowly buying so everyone didn't catch on. That's what he was doing.
This is what I'm trying to say, and that makes sense, because that's where we would see the big push up, and then you would sit, and we've just been kind of going sideways here. So, like that could be him coming in, and then people seeing him coming in, or just seeing there's a buyer coming in and seeing it push up. Then you have FOMO people who do trade it, right? So they're long. They're absolutely long right now. If you're not long,
look at that. We've got.
What's up?
We've got Pedro on the screen, and we're just about to have your background on the screen here.
There we are.
Oh, it's oh so close.
It's magic, you know.
It's all right. My hair's getting long. I'm trying to do my best Barry Gibb impression. Oh my! Come on! All I want is this one screen to go away.
I just want one screen. Don't you want to go to your home?
All right. Now I've got
in your home.
I've got your screen up here now. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we get to Pedro. And
let's talk about
Bitcoin's price action. What is going on with Bitcoin, Pedro?
Yeah, it's simple, man. It's going up. Is it gonna go? Is it going to the moon? To the moon, Alice. But I don't know. I do not know if it is. I do have a big resistant level here at that 40,000 to the 37,000 area. Obviously, you guys can see it. It's a monthly zone. I got to sit there and say, you know what? It's got to first get through that. Right, so if we do get through that, it's gonna basically pop up, come down, go back up. It'll look like this. It'll be like a little zigzag pattern here, right? Should. That's what it should do. Like right now.
Audio check.
Hello, can they hear me?
Yeah, I was just checking my mic. Go ahead.
Right. Sorry. So it should look like this, and then see this. That's typically what we should see. And we should see some type of support coming at these levels here, around the 28,000 mark. Now, I just want to make sure, as we're sharing my chart, it does say that this is all for educational and entertainment purposes only, right? Do not constitute this as financial advice. But you can, excellent, I love it. So these right here, as I'm looking at these levels, I'm definitely seeing that I'm not seeing real FOMO in. I'm not seeing real buyers coming in. I do, and there is buyers, but we as you see, as we're pushing up, we're seeing a descending of volume, and I again do not understand why I have news. Apply to all. Nope. This news. There we go. Latest news. All right. There we go. Apply to all. Please keep. All right. So you can see here as we're moving up. Right, we're not seeing real volume come in. We need to see real volume as we're moving up. That's why I think when we come up to that 40,000 area, that 37,000 area, we'll probably go down. Now, if at these levels, when we get back to Michael Saylor's break point, break even point here, we might see another round of buying coming in. Right, it's becoming, in the quarter here real soon. He's probably wanting to, tell his investors, look, we are, 10%, 15%, doing good, whatever he wants to do. So that might be the reason why he's pushing up. Either way, the next new point, if we do come back down to these levels, is 28,000 if we do sell off from the 37,000. So it's what we're looking for. Now, if we do see a major sell-off, okay, and they bring everything, I'm looking for the 23,000 and the 20,000 area to come back down to. It's in a nutshell. I want to bring up as well, and besides talking about Mr. Beast here, BTC, I want to talk about Shiba Inu here real quick. I used to cover Shiba Inu on my channel quite often. If you can go back and look at it, where I kind of called some areas
Shiba
Inu. Shiba Inu. All right. You can see here that we had the big sell-off with Shiba Inu, where it came down and hit my area of like that 62, or excuse me, 60. Why can't I say 682 area to the 659 area? We saw a nice little sell-off come through it. They stop everybody else out as usual that I talk about. Then actually they came all the way down to the very bottom where the chart actually starts. Stop out all those people, and then they shot back up, came back down, and they're finding out some support at these levels. And what's beautiful on the daily chart, they're hitting the right areas.
No.
So what's up?
I said, they're hitting.
Yeah, they're hitting it right. They're hitting it right. So what they've done is they came through. They hit the 200 period moving average here, and now they're basing there. That's a good sign of strength versus coming back down and testing the low. And they are having people who are selling off at these levels, but people are buying. Look at these buyer weights. These are huge. And this is a good indication that potentially we could see a sell off. Okay. And then, because all these people are trapped, this will be a liquidity pool right here, which will cause them to push up again. Right. So it's one of those things that it's kind of counterintuitive, but just imagine like a springboard. There is a springboard being established right here, and we potentially could push it back up. So if that does happen, we see a sell-off. I'm looking for it to come back down to this area here.
Can you zoom out on SHIB a little bit there and give us a couple of month lookout?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and go to the monthly chart here. So you guys can see here that we've pierced this A period. So this A period is definitely one of those things that it's weak here. Now it's still trending, but it's weak. So for me,
where did the high for this come down from? I mean, it's at its lows here, isn't it?
Oh yeah, dude. It came all the way down from, I think it was 0, Yeah, I think it was 4 zeros. At this level here.
Oh my.
I think, yeah, 4 zeros. Yeah. It almost took off the 3. And I remember because I was looking at it on that day right here. And I was sitting there going, holy crap, is this thing going to break? Right? So it didn't. But either way, it very much could be a major sell-off. I mean, not could be. It was a major sell-off.
Yeah.
But the next point of this level, I think there's a big community here that look at Shiba. So it's one of those things that we need to, let me go to remove this here real quick for you guys. I've been trying to keep my charts because I know people have been saying we can't read your charts. We don't understand it. I've been trying to.
So I asked for it to zoom out so you could see the actual trend of it, not just the wicks.
Yeah. So if you guys can see here and see this, we're still at almost, I think it's 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So 5 zeros. So you can sit here and see that this level here is for us to get, we need to get through that monthly and we need to get through that 8. But we've been piercing the 8. So the next the next retest would be the 401 area. And then this right here, and you can see we've already hit that area. And so this area here is potential buyers to come back up into that 401 area, 4011 area here that we could potentially hit here. Yeah, it's really interesting with Shiba Inu. It's been fun to sit there and see what they're actually doing, what they're trying to develop with Bone and their whole entire ecosystem. It's interesting. I think, I don't want to say that they're going to be the next juggernaut out there, but I mean they potentially could because they're bringing a lot of utility to the ecosystem. So those guys who are in there buying them, hey, good luck with that. I hope you guys. Hope it does well, but I just want to go over here with it because it's been really interesting to sit there and see what they're doing.
Well, we got to set a comment. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you finished up.
Yeah, so they're hitting so long story short, we'll hit that 80, 833 is where this right here, 831 is where that 8 period moving average sitting. We potentially could hit that, see a little sell off and come back up. So it's really interesting to see that we're in the new month and it's potentially it went down first to push up. You know, we might see it continue up and then come back down, right? Once it comes back up to these higher levels. What was the comment?
Comment was Solana is moving.
Yeah, Solana, dude.
Solana is moving. I think the Solana Foundation's conference is going on right now, or something like that. It's Solana Week somewhere, wherever they're holding that.
Yeah, it's real. There are people becoming millionaires again.
I lost all my money in crypto again.
I forget the guy's name. Was it Crypto Mason? I think was the YouTube guy. Nice guy. I actually love watching him. I love watching his TA. He was actually pretty good, or decent. But he was like, I went through the bull market 8 years ago. I became a millionaire, and then it all fell apart. And he was like, I'm not writing this out. I'm going to sell off and keep my millions and buy in when it's low. There's no way. I've already been through a bear market. And I was like, right now, all these people who are millionaires up here, right, are like now, at least 100,000aires. So they're making some cash here again. It's
one guy says, what's his name? Jake, the streamer. Jake, I can't remember.
Jake Paul?
No, Gagain or whatever the hell his
Oh
name is.
yeah.
He says it's going parabolic.
Yeah.
Oh,
It is. It's moving, man. The only problem, and this is again, I don't see any defense for that move. Like I don't see any, sellers coming in, pushing it down, and then seeing buyers step in, and that always leaves for a nice little descending. Like here you go, you see the same type of thing. You see it push up, and then for 3 months sell off. Right? All these people making money.
yep.
It's the same type of movement, but now it's moving up. So
I
it's
gotta
really
tell you, I
just-
gave them all sorts of grief, Solana, all sorts of grief a couple of months ago when they got as low as 8. They got as low as 8, and it was after the FTX fallout, and when everyone thought that the FTX was going to dump all the Solana that they had in their wallets, and then there was a whole bunch locked, and everybody thought that it was going to dump when all that stuff became unlocked, and so everyone was like, "No, it's awful." And then the bankruptcy trustees came out and said, "Look, we're not going to be dumping this stuff. We're going to sell it over the counter under contract slowly over time." And everyone was like, "Yeah, you're going to dump it. You're going to dump it." And then they didn't dump it because they're a real business. The bankruptcy people they're not knuckleheads.
They're not moon boys here,
right? They're like, no, it makes sense to do it under contract on the OTC market, and all of a sudden, you saw the volume starting to step up. Like you can see in your chart, volume building, the price started going up. The people that were just trying to unwind their positions are like, whoops, maybe we made a mistake. I better get back in the market. And they're in. And I mean, we've gone from it's basically it was consolidating in the low 20s there for a while. And now, boom, it's at what? I can't see that high number. 47?
42.
Like
yeah,
42?
It's 40. Yeah, well, actually, it's 42 sitting right now, but the high's been 46.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And this is based off of Tether. This isn't, like USD. So, it's real interesting to sit there and see, and here's the thing, where it's again hitting good levels. Like the key is you want to see it hit good levels and then respond well. So in that level, you can sit there and see right here. Give me 1 second. This is a monthly chart here. Monthly supply. These levels here are not bad. They're pretty good. So, and here we go. Come on. And you don't want to do it for me now? There you are. So that 48, 47, and it came in just tapped that. That's a nice area, man. That shows like there's fairly good sellers sitting here, and that's good because when it's responding well, that means it's not a fake push.
Right. Here's some little behind the scenes stuff. Comment from retired Chad. He says, "I never knew one conference can have so much stuff packed in it. None of the Bitcoin or Ethereum conferences ever blew me away this way. The pace at which things are being built on Solana at this point, at this time, is insane." I have an ambulance going by. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. All right, perfect. Okay.
Like I said, being back in Chicago, it's the land of sirens. But it says if you're a 1x or 10x engineer, Solana is the place to be. So apparently their conference going on right now is dropping the big alpha, and that's why everyone is super bullish on it. So I'm not up on the news. I've been trying to search it on Twitter, but Solana is one of those ones that every airdrop scammer tags in his tweets. So 99 out of 100 tweets that you scroll through are just
Trash.
crap or bots.
Yeah. So you're saying I have a chance then?
Yes. I have a chance. It's not zero.
I always refer back to just old 90s and early 2000 videos.
All right. So also Cardano's having their conference in Dubai right now, and a couple of people from the Canadian Blockchain Consortium are out there for that. Can you bring that one up and tell me what Cardano is doing?
Yeah, let's check out Cardano here. We've seen it the last 3 weeks just really push hard. I think that could have been in preparation for their conference. In addition to that, you can see that we're actually hitting some pretty decent levels on the weekly chart here, but it's still got to push to that 8 again. Like just like I was talking about Shiba Inu, that 8-period moving average is sitting right above us. It's been pierced already, so it is fairly weak. It should be able to cut through this. If it closes above that monthly 8, okay, and we then see a push up for next month into December and then a push down, that is a good sign saying that the institutions like this and they want it cheaper. So look at it like this. Institutions come in, they buy it up, okay, and then they short it to go down.
Yeah.
Okay, so they make money as it's going down, but then they flip their position and then they push it up. If we see this thing go down first into next month, then we could see it go up into the next month, but then I see it going down. So I want to see certain aspects of the market as it moves. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you need to think counterintuitive to the market as like a retail trader, right? Many times institutions have to buy cheap because they have clients, and those clients don't want to get put in at the top and then lose money. They get mad. So just simply look at it like this. You want to see it go down so they can buy cheap to go up. Best way of looking at it.
All right, Vanessa Harris comments, it's not Cardano versus Solana. It's decentralized money and decentralized finance versus the big banks in Wall Street.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Thank you for that comment.
Good point. You know what? But they like money. And so as we start to move towards the halving, they very much could be like positioning, and then see a drop. I mean, Bitcoin's push, it's cyclical. And so, it's an every 4-year thing. I mean, that's great for them because, everybody knows that. And so whereas the traditional markets have a hard time, really finding, 4 years, 8-year bull rally, how do you know when it's going to turn around? You don't. We know with Bitcoin, it's very cyclical.
Right.
So I think as an investor, if I had $1 billion, $2 billion, I would sit there and much like Michael Saylor and being like, you know what? Let me invest more because I know it's going to go low and it's going to go high and peak. And, so it's just, I think it's interesting. But that's a good point because you don't, you're right, very much. DeFi against TriFi, you're right, traditional finance. So really interesting. That's actually a really great comment. You're right. We aren't fighting with each other. Let me ask you a quick question. Have you watched that video of the top owners or CEOs of like the top 10? And they're all a part of the like in a Telegram, a signal, and they communicate and talk.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to hear them talk about, or that guy talk about how they still use traditional like systems because the Web3 is still, it's not 100%, what do you call it? There's still a lot of holes in it.
Yeah, and its adoption is, Web3 is booming, but its adoption is still low.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're still very early. If you think of the next 20, 50 years as, things keep developing, you're right now, Bitcoin sitting at 30,000, 20,000, Cardano sitting at, 30 cents, it's good. It's still a good company.
All right, go ahead, finish up while I type this out.
That was it. But and also I could throw in Doge. So XRP and Doge. So let's go to move these things. Boom. Sorry about that, guys. Trying to get off here real quick.
All right, well, Pedro's doing that. So, I'm going to take a small social media break here and say welcome everybody. As always, please like, share, comment, follow. Just do it. Help us out by doing one of those things. Showing how much you like it helps the algorithm and push it in front of people that have similar tastes as yourself, which of course is entertaining and quality content here in the crypto world. And also drop a comment where you're coming from, where you're watching us from. Let us know where in the world you are watching from. We get people from all over watching it. We have good fans down in Australia. They watch us on the replay a lot. And we get a lot of fans in Europe. And of course, fans all across Canukistan, from, as they say in Canada, coast to coast to coast. When they only have 2 coasts, they still say they have 3.
That is funny.
I mean, the U.S. technically has 3. We have the East Coast, the West Coast, and then the Gulf Coast, and it's an actual coast. And in Canada, they have the East Coast and the West Coast, and then about 83 bazillion miles of islands, and glaciers and all that kind of stuff up north. There's no actual coast, but they got to be inclusive of the coasts now too. You can't leave anybody out. So that coast wants to be involved, so they do coast to coast to coast.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't.
That's actually really funny. You know what, man? That's cool. I'm cool with that. Like, hey, inclusivity, man. Like, everybody got to have a coast, right?
Everybody's got to have a coast.
There's no harm, man. You know, it's like, hey, you know. Anyways, that's funny. So if you look at Doge here real quick, you can see again it's falling off that 8, and so it's gonna be really interesting to see what is going to happen when we get above that monthly 8 close with volume. I'm really kind of excited to see what's going on there. XRP, you can see here we actually are above it, and we're kind of just stagnant, moving higher. We saw a pretty decent move with XRP this past month, which looked pretty nice. When you sit there and look at it, it's actually starting to find a good balance here, and we are seeing an increase or a building up of volume here coming in the last few days. So it's been really interesting to sit there and see it starting to move. I did expect it to come down into these lower levels again, but hey, again, as a trader, you can't be dogmatic. The market is always right. The biggest thing,
absolutely.
You don't get a chance to sit there and say no. But what you can sit there and say is, you know what? Is it defending this area? And the reality is it is. Look, we can see some sell-offs in even the last few days, and it's finding support on that 8-period moving average. So the next portion for this to push, I would say, is to check the next highs again, right? Which would be that 0.94 cent area, or 94 cents from the 64. So this is one of those areas that you could definitely see this move up to this level, retest this area here, and then see a sell-off from there. So that's kind of like what we want to see, right? The sell-off is a good thing. So that, as I said, allows institutions to be able to buy and be able to pull at a level for them so they can actually go through and buy at good levels. That would be a monthly area as well as a quarterly high as well. So this is something that we should see a sell-off, come back down, and then push back up. So again, these areas that we're seeing a nice little push overall in crypto, and partly it's because of Bitcoin's movement up. So thank you, Mr. Sailor.
All right. Space Cat drops a comment saying that he's on the coast of Lake Ontario. Thanks, Space Cat, for watching.
Thanks, brother. Shout out.
The general posts that he says, let's see, don't mind me. I'm all hopped up on Toradol. I don't even know what that is. Lots of fell down some stairs like a simpleton. I'm from Manitoba. I'm sure that's
Manitoba.
Canadian generic name for an American drug.
It sounds like fun. Why don't you pass along? Puff, puff, give, my friend. Come on. Nah. Listen, we do not condone nor do we support any type of extracurricular activities, use of any foreign.
It's legal in Canada.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe in other places, it's not.
Not in Kirkplakistan. If you're watching from Kanuka, Tajika, Turkmenistan.
Yes. So either way, yes. Let's jump back into this next point here. Where we at here, real quick. So yeah, it's the market here is it's coolly moving up higher. Now, the next part I do want to talk about here, and I think this is really is when you look at Matic, right? Polygon. I think Polygon has been really kind of beat up. Like I feel like Polygon is another one that is just they're doing so much, and again they're just getting trashed on. So it's really interesting to sit there and see this. In comparison to the other ones. So,
all right, let's Pedro. Let's take a quick break here. We're going to talk quickly about our sponsor, Auditchain, and as I always say, instead of listening to me talk about it, we're just going to listen to me talk about it. When we come back, we'll have a discussion about Safemoon, and then probably wrap up with talking more about the markets. And the SEC and so forth. So for those of you watching, stick around. We'll be right back.
Most of you know that crypto exchanges have been taking a beating about transparency, and many groups out there are trying to solve that. But Auditchain has already done that. Auditchain's protocols and network of validators can mathematically prove that a company's entire financial state, not just proof of reserves, but a proof of state, and whether or not that company is providing accurate reporting and information to the respective government regulators and to the public. Seriously, you and I can check crypto companies and traditional companies' financial reports for transparency and accuracy using a logic and reasoning engine called Precipitously that records its output where? On the blockchain. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, blockchain technology is now able to be used to check on traditional companies. Behind me is a list of companies that comprise the S&P 500, S&P 100. In essence, the largest U.S. companies by size. More than one quarter, 29 out of 100, have problems with their reports. Remember, accounting and other corporate systems are garbage in and garbage out. So if there are problems with the data out for these companies, in red here, what does that mean? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There are problems with the data going in. And this was figured out not by accounting or auditing firms and of consultants. This was compiled and reported on by Auditchain's Precipitously validating nodes and took only 5 minutes. It's revolutionary and it's a disruptor technology. Auditchain.
Turned our mics off. Yeah, my mic was off, and so was Pedro's. Anyway, thanks to Auditchain, auditchain.finance. Go to their website, and you can get links to all their different social medias and Telegram and so forth, and learn all about them, and learn how they are trying to right the ship in the world of financial reporting and assurance. Thank you to Auditchain. Anyway, Pedro, the big news yesterday, the SEC came out and charged and sued Safemoon, but they did it differently than all the other press releases recently. And this one involved an actual perp walk. And the U.S. Department of Justice, along with the FBI, actually went and arrested all the guys from Safemoon. And I think they got John and Caroni, I think his last name is, and one of the other guys. But the old CTO, who was just a whack job, they can't find him. Or at least at the time of the arrest, he wasn't not in custody yet, because I think they got to go to Costa Rica to find him or something like that. But anyway, Safemoon has blown up, and the SEC has finally come down with the hammer on them. And it's very interesting. There's a couple of points I want to get to about that. And at the heart of crypto, this is what everyone needs to be worrying about. One of the things that the SEC talks about here is how, and obviously, if I had my whiteboard working, I'd highlight this. But what they were saying is, in the beginning, when Safemoon went from 0 to 100 bazillion, their liquidity pool went as high as 5.7 No, their market cap went to 5.7 billion, with more than $1 billion in their liquidity pool. The SEC's point on this is that Safemoon was saying, hey, the liquidity is now locked. We locked it. And in fact, they did a big burn too. They burned $250 million worth of Safemoon and associate. I think it's the associated BNB, and they were lying. They did not lock everything. They did not lock all the liquidity. What they did is they pulled some out. I think, what did you just say a minute ago in one of the articles you read? $200 million out of it?
Yeah. It was ridiculous. It's like, wow.
Right.
Like, at least be somewhat wise and be like, I'm going to take a couple mil. I mean, I'm not saying like I'm saying this is good, but I'm saying at least be smart about it. But
one of the things they weren't smart about, and when this was going on, is when I was kind of new to crypto, but I quickly figured out that the liquidity pool wasn't the contract owner's money. It wasn't the money that the contract didn't own it. It was a liquidity pool. It was investors' funds. It was the book value of whatever your crypto project was. And Safemoon's real value wasn't their market cap. They're real, just like a company. What's your book value? If this company had no more business, what could you sell it for? And if Safemoon stopped trading, then they would divide up the liquidity pool and go to BSC and see the percentages and send it all out to everybody. A lot of projects have done that recently.
Yep.
Because they said our idea is not working. We're just going to return everyone's money. Safemoon, they took some of that liquidity pool for themselves. Now they were making tons of money on taxes too. Let's not kid ourselves. But they weren't, the way they had their original contract structured. They were not making a lot of marketing money or operations money. It was going to build the liquidity pool, and so they saw all this money going through them, and they weren't getting as much. So they just took some out of the liquidity pool. When your liquidity pool is $1 billion, and there's a huge volume, the billions of dollars in volume going in and out, taking 200 million out of the liquidity pool isn't that big of a deal. I mean, you take it out not all at once. You take out, 5 million, 4 million, and we saw those sales in Safemoon during that period. Like, man, someone's selling 2 million, 3 million, 5 million. It was these guys unloading their $200 million in the LP and stuff like that. But the important part is what the SEC came out and said exactly what I've been talking about for a while, that the liquidity pool is investors' money and you have to treat it as such. Even if you're not a real financial project, even if you're not a fiduciary person or company, you have to treat that as investors' money, and you can't take it. And I've been through some other projects too, in which people took the liquidity part of the LP out for themselves, and just took it. It didn't say, "Oh, we're taking taxes," or here and disclosed it to everybody, because 80% of what goes on with the SEC is disclosure and making sure that the investor knows exactly what's going on, so they have an equal footing as everyone else. And so by Safemoon just taking it, they in essence stole investor funds. And so the SEC is saying you stole money. You didn't just say, oh, there's $1 billion, we're going to take 200 million from ourselves because it's our company, it's our contract, whatever. They're saying, no, there was outright theft, and thus, because you were lying to everybody about it and didn't tell anyone, it's fraud. And not just like fraud, like, ooh, okay, I shoplifted $10 of candy from the local 5 and dime store. You took $200 million from investors, and that puts them up in like the major scam artist things. So they got the Department of Justice involved and the FBI, and they researched it. I think the amount of people in this press release that talked about working on it is a lot. So they put a lot of effort into it, and they went back and reconstructed the whole thing. They probably just got chain analysis on it and said, let's start from day one, and what happened here? Where did the money go? And then they found where the money went into the banking system. And what did the money buy, Pedro? It bought McLarens, Lamborghinis, mansions. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Be come on. Smart. Like,
I mean, at least crank up the tax, and then say you're paying yourself, $10 million salary or something like that. I mean, the people trading it wouldn't have cared because they're like, we're making so much money, we don't care. But then as they tried to feed the machine here, once the crypto winter started. If you recall, to back up, when Safemoon launched, BNB was at like $25 for a BNB or something like that, $40 or something. And so many people were getting into Safemoon. They were learning about Pancake Swap. They were learning about, how that whole process, DeFi process worked. That it pushed BNB up to almost $600 at the height of like November of 21 or something like that. And so Safemoon had not just a pump from people getting into it, but because their liquidity pool was paired with BNB, and BNB is pumping in like logarithmic style, going from 40 to, it did a 12x just on that. So that's going to push the LP pool associated with it that much higher without any buy pressure. That's just going to 10x because BNB is going up. And then the buy pressure pushed it up another 100x. So Safemoon did 1,000x and made those guys multimillionaires when they stole all the money.
They did 1,000x? Really?
Yeah, they did 1,000x. Yeah, and in fact, a little bit more. It was a little bit more than that. But one of the things that they said was that they used misappropriated assets to make large purposes of Safemoon to prop up its price and manipulate the market. So they were doing one of the things where they were taking some of the LP out, splitting it up, and using the BNB, burning the Safemoon token, but using the BNB to rebuy on the open market. And so it was basic price manipulation. I mean, if they're telling people we're going to be doing this, and it's a disclosure, and it's clear to everybody, that's one thing. But when they're doing it, and without telling people, because when that manipulation stops, we know what happens. The price goes, pew! And that's what happened. I talked to so many people when that thing started, Pedro. That was the first big Reflections contract, and people were making fat bank. They were making $1,000 a day on Reflections at some points. Yeah, and I was talking to people. They said, "Yeah, I'm going to retire here," and I said, "What do you mean you're going to retire?" They're like, "Well, this is throwing off $1,000 a day. I don't even know I need to work." I said, these guys that are running the Safemoon contract are young 20-year-old kids.
Yeah.
I said, are you really going to trust your retirement to this group of guys? I mean, think about it. I was talking to somebody who's probably like 45 years old. He's like, yeah, I'm going to retire. And like, these guys are going to be around maybe 2 years. And then they're going to be like, they're either going to be wealthy and they're going to F off, or the thing's going to explode and it's going to be a problem. They're like, no, it's a good thing. Look at this volume. This is up. And even then, when I was naive and green in crypto, I was like, this can't happen. You can't have returns like this greater than the mean for longer than a small amount of time. It's not possible. Like, no, this is good. This volume, look at this community. It's great. Yeah. And then no. No. And it didn't work out. Then the volume dropped, and then they redid it. Then they're like, oh, we're going to have a blockchain, and then we're going to have an exchange and all this, everything else everyone's doing. We're going to have a Safemoon debit card. I mean, the Boy Scouts down the street have a Safemoon debit card. Anyone can get a debit card branded with your stuff on it and make a little VIG on it. That's nothing new. It's like, I was watching it, I'm like, this thing's going to zero. But they had a big community of people holding. I mean, they held it all the way down, all the way. And I was guilty of that one project too. But they held it until they got arrested. Can you bring up that Safemoon chart?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me see if I can get you back on the screen here.
Safemoon. Yeah, there we go. Here we are. Here.
Yeah, and zoom that out to the beginning of that. This is like
I'm gonna put in the months.
Version 3 or something like that.
Yeah, so it went from the initial start date of 2022 from 3 zeros, or excuse me, 3, 4, 5 zeros. Is that, am I tripping? Is that really 5? Let me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 zeros. It went from 5 zeros to 2 zeros. Again, 100x.
Yeah, that's just their version. That's just their version 3 contract. It had already come down on their version. Maybe it's version 2. I don't know. Whatever. But their original contract went way higher, and that it was coming down a lot when they switched. I think they switched like a lot of people did to change the tokenomics up and also to drop a bazillion zeros. They had like 11 or 12 zeros going on.
Really, 11 or 12 zeros, and they went from
a lot. And so when they relaunched, they changed the ratio to drop the supply, dropped 5 zeros off the supply, and it also dropped 5 zeros off the price at the same time. Kept the same LP. But the people there's everyone involved in that project right now is pretty much exit liquidity. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, look at it right now. It's literally the last 2 days. It's like literally, I feel bad for these people right here. Like, why are they buying? Like, it's a dead. I just feel that's nuts. Look at this. This person right here who bought at that peak. Like right here. They're like, oh man, we're gonna see this huge, and then boom, sell off, and then the news comes out, and they're like, wait, what? Right? They're like, but I thought there was gonna, like.
Here, talk about that for a second, Pedro. I gotta take a quick break here.
It's all right. Like, imagine being this guy right here. Hey, I can hear you. You want to mute? Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay. So you can sit here and see here on Safemoon, this as it's moving up here. Again, there's no support coming in, like like a huge sell-off. This is why I always talk about, like, I want to see defense for that position as it's moving up, because if I don't see it, then most likely we're going to see a sell-off. Now, obviously, Safemoon is not the one to talk about, right? But it also happens with other. Oh man, I want to see what the original. If one of you guys could post in the chat in YouTube the original chart. Where do I find the original chart on Safemoon? That would be great. I'd appreciate that.
The original Safemoon chart.
I'm so curious because that is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know where you can find it. It's definitely PooCoin probably archived it.
Yeah, I would have to go through KuCoin. I haven't logged into KuCoin for a minute.
No, PooCoin, not KuCoin.
Oh, PooCoin. Oh, snaps. We are talking about PooCoin.
All right.
Yes.
That's what everyone used 2 years ago. You spent your whole day looking at pile of poo and prices.
So I gotta sit there. I gotta find it because you're right. It is on PooCoin. It would definitely be on PooCoin. That's crazy. Here's my question. So these guys, I've watched some of the videos, and so one of the videos, these guys are kind of older. A couple of the guys are in their 30s, right? Later on, right? Especially the guy in the long hair. It definitely looked.
Yeah, they hired some new guys. Yeah.
Yeah, we're part of the community. They came involved. Do you think that they like when they came and got involved, and they changed CEOs twice or 3 times?
No, John's been the CEO of Safemoon the whole time. He's the founder.
Okay.
They changed their CTO, chief marketing officer, that type of stuff.
But all those guys, are they going after them as well?
No, they're not, because these charges relate to what went on at the beginning of it when they were, I'll just say, doing a lot of drugs. I don't know. I used to watch the Safemoon live streams that they would do, and the first one I saw, their CTO guy, I can't remember his name, but he basically hid his face and didn't want to be seen. And I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. What's going on with the amount of money involved? And then the next week, he was on screen, but he was just this strange guy with attitude and a beard. And I was like, I think this guy's high. And then they went to the Bitcoin conference in Miami. And that's right before it all blew up with them about this one guy claiming that it was a rug pull and it dropped the price like 50%. And these guys went live totally all hammered, drunk, and stoned and whatever. And they were dropping huge money. They're hanging out with rappers and all these famous people who don't hang out with people unless you're buying their posse, all the champagne and everything that they want. And I was like, oh, something's wrong here. Something wrong. Anyway, and it was shortly thereafter that their initial price issues happened with they had a rug pull, not a rug pull, the guy claimed they were a rug pull, so half the money went out. And then they had that whole thing about then they burned a whole bunch of it, so the price went back up. Then there was some other scandal, I can't remember what it was, but the price dropped precipitously, and it never recovered from its super bullish time.
I'm looking at it
Let's
right
see.
now. I'm actually looking at it right now, PooCoin.
ECG just took all their liquidity out. They don't want to be associated with Safemoon anymore. They just took their a lot of companies had their projects, their liquidity on the Safemoon DEX. The guys at Novation should go after them. But Novation's currently down due to a security issue. Anyway, Pedro, I've got to give up the ghost here at the at 11:30 here, or right before it. So let's try and wrap this show up.
Let's wrap it up. Hey, real quick, I'm just gonna show, dude. I can't believe how much money this thing exploded, but it still had a sell off, even back in 2001. I mean, I'm looking at this right now, and it's pretty like this. It seemed pretty obvious. I mean, unless I've got the wrong, but it's a Safemoon Classic. Is that different?
I don't know. You have to look at the liquidity pool at certain times and stuff. I don't remember what the contract number was for that.
It's crazy when I'm looking at this, and it's just
Safemoon Classic. Those were all different.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Different
So I see what
contracts
you're
that people copied the name. Yeah, and literally that was back when scammers were really preying on people, and people would launch 79 Safemoon contracts a day that were honeypots, and they would get people.
Yeah.
Space Cat, yeah, we got you with the EGC. I said it wrong too. Just reading your comments. I'm sure most people be taking their stuff off of Safemoon. I think the party's over for those guys, and they should just wrap it up. Just sell off have a management buy it. This is what they need to do. I was reading a similar article about this the other day, or last night. Is that the current management, lest the guys under arrest, should buy out the assets of the DEX or their exchange, and rebrand it as Safe Mars or something. Safe Saturn.
Safe Mars.
or just rebrand it all together and say, all right, guys, we don't have any connection with the old Safemoon guys. They can fight their fight. Good luck to them. But we've bought the exchange from them, free and clear of claims, and we're moving on. That's what should happen. That's what smart businessmen would do. They're like, all right, this thing is making money for us, so let's separate it out and it's like when when a pharmaceutical company or something like that they determine one of its drugs is actually killing people. They're like, whoop, we're selling that whole line to another independent company, so they can get the lawsuits. Anyway,
Yep.
but watching the whole Safemoon thing. It was the beginning of people talk about the bull market in like the Bitcoin bull market in 2013 or whenever that was. That was a 1% of 1% of 1% of people in the world got involved with crypto then. And then the bull market in 2017, which brought a lot of people in when XRP and Stellar and all these things just went nuts. It just went crazy. There was no sellers in the market, and the buyers just went crazy. And then in 2018, when all that dumped and everyone took their money and ran, it was a bear market for 2 years, really 2.5 years, until 2021, when DeFi really kind of came about. And Safemoon's what kicked it off. I mean, let's not kid anybody. There's a million projects out there and blockchains and all that. But what brought the most in was these dudes making some TikTok videos. And the TikTok videos went viral and brought people into it. And DeFi exploded. And then there was Safemoon. Then there was Elon Gate. And then there was all kinds. Yeah, there's all kinds of things that people were just making money hand over fist, and it drove BNB up like crazy. And so you couldn't. Nobody, even if your project was losing money, BNB was going up so fast that your project's price went up. It was amazing. And so hats off to the guys at Safemoon for kicking off the DeFi revolution and bringing in maybe 100 to 300 million people around the world into crypto. I don't know how. Okay, well, maybe we'll go 10.
Probably.
Whatever the number is. It got kids in Asia involved in it. It brought everybody into it. And while ultimately the DeFi slump happened and a lot of people bought in at the top, it's what kind of kicked everything off here and taught everyone the markets for it. So we give them credit for that, but don't give them credit for stealing $200 million.
You remember St. Thomas, dude? I 10x St. Thomas, and I was gonna sell it, and I had a friend of mine say, "No, hold it, dude. It's gonna go to. You're gonna see 100x. Do you remember Safemoon? This is the next Safemoon." And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't get into Safemoon." And so he was like, "No, hold it." And I was like, "But it's 10x my money, dude. What are you talking about?" He goes, "Dude, it's gonna go to 1,000x." I said, "That's not normal." He goes, "This is crypto. It's not normal." And I listened.
2 days later.
Bro, I was so mad. I was like, I knew it. Like, I was like, oh.
God, early on, I had this girl on my show. Her name was Crypto Deb. And
you had Crypto Deb on your thing?
Yeah, I had her on a long time ago, right when Saitama was starting. And she was green. It was, she's matured a lot, but there were some issues going with her partner back then. And and she was just starting to get viewers, and her YouTube channel went from 10 people, of which I had 2 accounts that were following her, my personal one and my work one. And I'm like, let's just see how she does here. And all of a sudden, she's like, boom, a zillion views because what she was doing. And then she started pushing Saitama, and I'm like, and I didn't buy into it. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what? Wait, what? And I see her pushing it every week. She's talking about it. And all of a sudden, all of a sudden, it's like, I'm like, why didn't I buy someone? I had her on my show. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. Dude, I used to watch her. I actually, she did some decent TA. I was actually kind of impressed with. I was like, you're actually pretty good for a girl. She used to show off her stuff, and I said, you don't need to show off your stuff to like bring views. You got pretty decent TA,
right?
And
technical analysis that's the abbreviation for TNA.
Oh snap! Yes, technical analysis. Man, I gotta remember these terms. Thank you. She showed off her technical analysis. She was decent. And I sat there, and all of a sudden, I had her whole entire, I guess they call them the wolf pack. They all started attacking me. How dare you body shame her? I go, I'm not body shaming her. She can show her chuff off, whatever she wants. What I'm trying to say is, yo, you don't need to, because I actually got impressed with your TA. Because a friend of mine showed, what do you think about the girl on her TA? And I was like, actually decent. And then I started following her because, I want to hear people's. So going back there, dude. St. Thomas was stupid. I'm like, the nutsness. They were nuts. Like literally, like mentally nuts. I think I felt like sometimes.
they were definitely mentally nuts. Anyway, that's all we got for today, ladies and gentlemen. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. Thank you for being my co-host once again and talking about the markets and where they're going. We'll be with you again. If you're watching this live, we'll be with you again tomorrow, Friday morning. If you're watching this on the replay and you got to the end of this show, you're a diehard. And thanks for watching. Thanks for getting to this point. And hopefully you were entertained enough in order to click one of these boxes that are going to show up in the window and watch another episode.
A quick question. Last thing. If they like and share it on their social media, and they just simply, if you don't want to post this, I get it. Like, we've a bunch of nut guys, right? And there's some stuff that we do bring on you would want to post. But we're just being crazy right now. But if they delete it later, does that still count as a share for YouTube?
As long as someone clicks on the link, it counts.
if you guys could like and share, I'd appreciate it. If you want to delete us a day later, it's cool. But that would be cool to sit there and when you hit that share button so that we can sit there and get the engagement. Because like I said, we are trying to build the YouTube channel. If Crypto Deb can do it, we should be able to do it as well.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for today. We'll see you tomorrow, so be there.